Hey dudes, welcome back to another episode of our Rhomas Men's Team podcast. You are about to listen to one of our prior team meetings. If you ever want to join one of our live sessions that we have every Monday and Friday, head over to rhomas.com. That's RHOMAS.com and put your email in and we will send you a live link every time we record. We generally record on Mondays and Fridays. So if you ever want to be on the actual podcast, like we bring men up all the time to talk about their goals, talk about their obstacles, etc., head over to rhomas.com. And then also, if you want to help support the channel grow and also have access to exclusive content, book reviews, extra whiteboard sessions, etc., and some coaching sessions, head over to patreon.com and support us. We would love it. But if not, no biggie. We'll see you on the live sessions. Later, dudes. Enjoy this podcast.
Here we are, another Monday. Live and recording. Wes, how the hell are you?
What is up, man?
Not much.
Dude, I'm super pumped because we found these. There's a lot of YouTube like follow along workout sessions now.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a 10-minute follow along yoga, 10-minute follow along on mobility. So we're going to start doing some like HIIT workouts and so on, but it's just these super, super efficient, no fluff, not even any words, it's just like these countdown timers. I'm sure, probably everybody else in the world has seen them except for me. I just exposed myself to them 3 days ago. But they're amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I do a guided yoga one. I like yoga with Bird. That's this lady. Her name's Bird. It's pretty awesome. But I like her deep stretch. And then I'll do a 10-minute HIIT. And it's like, and then I'll switch it up where I do like mainly the YouTube countdown timer and then like a little stretch at the end.
Nice.
Dude, those things are awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking the way that we're going to construct the workouts for the Rhomas men's workout sessions in the morning is do, some sort of like 10-minute mobility training, maybe 10-minute Pilates training, and then, 20 or 30-minute resistance training, like hypertrophy training. So it's a nice way of getting this hybrid sort of workout and very specialized and customized workout method. Just the internet's cool as hell, man. It's just, could you imagine 15 years ago, you would have had to drive to each location to do that, which would have taken 20 minutes and commute each way, at least out here in California, and you would have never been able to get it done. Now we can get it done inside of an hour and there's no commute time. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, dude, the doing like the workout things, the timers, they're the best. You just turn your laptop on. It's that, you just hit play on this thing and just try to go along with it as much as you can. And it's fun seeing. I did this one. I'll do some of them that are, like pretty moderate, and then I'll do ones that are like, this is level 5 and double advanced. And I'll just try to do it. There's like, I'm unable to do single leg burpees in the middle of a workout, but it's like, it's nice to kind of push yourself to that limit. And then the regular exercise is like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking about doing it maybe for like a follow along session for our scorecard. Just where you put music in the background, you just go through and it's like, okay, now starting your journal. Now we do like, so it's giving me some cool ideas.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
How'd the weekend go, dude?
Dude, it went well. We, the day I have this weird habit where like before I have something like that to do, or I have to like go somewhere or travel, I'll like pack my day before I leave way too much. I got to stop doing that. I had like a to-do list of like 45 things, and it was like down to the wire of like leaving, I was on time and everything, but it was like, I was like, I got to stop doing that. But I got a ton of stuff done before I left, went down, did both shows. They were fun. It was, again, like with stand up, the biggest change for me was taking myself out of the equation in terms of like the negative kind of preoccupied stuff and just just showing up and there was a moment where I was like on my way down. I talked to my brother, we're going to do like the family stuff on Sunday. So in my head, I had this like split between like, I got to do this other stressful stuff, and then there will be the fun stuff after I get done. And in my head, I'm like, that's just the way I'm filtering I can go bring that same kind of energy just to what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? There's like this distinction I was making, like, here's the, stressful, uncomfortable stuff, and then there'll be the relaxing stuff. And I was like, well, let me bring like the showing up at a family party vibe into the stand-up and just kind of enjoy it, just the same thing. And it was fun. I had a blast.
Yeah, I'd like to consider, I think you and I talked about taking NLP class together at some point, or something similar, where it's, from my understanding, it's teaching you how to adjust your thoughts to give you the right state of mind within that certain domain. So yeah, I'd like to get a little deeper into that sometime.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And it's also too, people always forget like your thoughts, the way you think. You know, you can say, well, I'm just going to think myself out of the situation. If like my leg's blown off, it's like, okay, well, first of all, is your leg blown off? No. Okay. So that doesn't apply to you. Second of all, it's like, dude, the way you think has like a real effect on your biology. And it's like, you know, this is in the thing I'm writing right now. It's like, if you don't believe me, it's like, just imagine chugging a bucket of vomit that's been sitting out in the sun for a week. Like, really imagine it. Yeah, you go, oh, it fucks with your stomach. It's like, well, imagine if you're telling yourself you're a piece of shit all the time. Imagine the biological changes coming about because of that. So it's like, yeah, you should always err on the side of thinking positively. And like, worst comes to worst, you are a bit too positive in a negative. There's no downside if you think about it. It's like, I was way too positive in that negative situation. It's like, okay, like being unnecessarily negative in a positive situation, however, does bring about pretty unnecessary and shitty stuff.
Now, do you think, because we had this conversation come up before a few weeks ago where it was, oh, there's an element of this that's too positive, too rah-rah. What do you think of that? Is there a limit to it, or do you think there's a sweet spot? What are your thoughts and perspective?
Yeah, I actually did think about this a little bit, and I think it's like as long as the thing's rooted in truth, you know, as long as people are saying like, hey, you know, here's something I noticed, but yeah, there's no reason it has to be like harsh or overly critical. I don't think you can become too positive. I think there can be kind of like a thing that becomes like an echo chamber, but you know, I don't think that's really a risk here because I don't think people are like kind of buttering each other up and sugarcoating stuff, or just, you know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, thinking about that, it's like, and like we said before, the mind's typically pretty negative, overwhelmingly tends toward the negative. So it's like, if you feel like you're, you know, hitting the gas pedal on the positive, you're still like, you know, maybe just hitting like an eighth of what you are doing negative. So yeah, I think I have seen it before. People like collectively put on the blinders. Yeah, but it's, you know, I don't think that's something to really worry about, you know?
Yep. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think as a team, we need to be more concerned with how to counterbalance the full negativity of the universe or our day-to-day environment. So I think hedging on the side of positivity is a good bet to place.
And Ray asked a good question. Accountability, is it incongruent with positivity? It's like, yeah, I don't even think so. I think it's like, because I think about this today. It's like, I always try to go back and like pick out, you know, especially if I feel like, you know, what am I doing? You know, if I feel kind of like I'm spinning out a little bit, I'm like, let me go back to the basics and go to like, just pick like, if I don't know what to do with myself, it's like, let me go and pick my values word list, like, you know, courageously, boldly, openly, blah, 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 and just pick like one for the day. And if nothing else, I'll just try to embody this thing. You know, I think it's a fun thing for people to do if you have no idea what you want to do with yourself. So it's like, you know, I want to be thinking of, let's say like, you know, I want to use the word peaceful. I want to be honest. So it's like, they can be somewhat, incongruent, but it's also like, so say you're maintaining the peaceful order of your house. That also might entail being very honest in a way that's, experienced as negative. So it's like, you know, accountability could be experienced if you're holding yourself or someone else's account, you know, as like negative, quote unquote, in the moment. But as long as you kind of stick with it and have like why you're doing it in mind, I think that kind of like, it's not negative. It might be a little difficult, but it's not negative because afterwards, you know, something good will come out of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And, two things about Ray. Number one, I believe, and Ray, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you can, has your neighbor ever parked back in your spot again from the time we did the exercise? Yeah. Because I have,
yep. Hell no.
Yeah. So for the guys who are not familiar with that, basically we did, as a team, Ray did an exercise in, what would you call that, Matt? Well, like sticking up for himself.
Self-assertion.
Self-assertion exercise. There you go.
Yep.
Where his neighbor was parking in his driveway repeatedly and just wouldn't stop, essentially. And then what Ray did as an exercise in self-assertion was, we talked about it as a group, came up with an action plan, and he wrote his neighbor a letter. And that was probably what, Matt, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the neighbor has not parked in his driveway since. And then Ray, how long has he been parking in your driveway? I'm just curious. Up until that point. Oh, 5 years. right? So this guy was parking in his driveway for 5 years, and Ray took, I don't know, probably 5 minutes, 25 minutes or something like that to write a letter and deliver it to him. Now the problem's done. 5 years solved in, let's call it a half hour. So yeah, that's amazing that he did that. And then also another shout out to Ray. I think I saw in the Discord that he broke through a weight barrier that he has not hit in 10 years. I think he's at 163 now. He hasn't been in 163 in 10 years.
Damn, that's hard. My 180 weight barrier is tough. I like get down and then it just goes right. It's very difficult. So hell yeah, Ray. That's
what's your 10-year low?
Mine is, damn, I think I've hit like 157 back when I was doing Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. I was like 160. I was like light 160s, high 150s. That was like I was Bruce Lee'd out, dude.
Damn, yeah.
But yeah, if I could get back down to low 170, high 160, that'd be tight.
Hell yeah, man. That's
also,
awesome.
too, I think Troy made a perfect point. I think he summed it up the best, where it's like, he said the group has a positive accountability. So it's like when people generally don't do well, we ask questions to see where they went wrong and where their situation was out of control. And also, like he was saying, a kind of accountability can go with positivity, but it depends on how you approach it. And I think an easier way to kind of almost nail that down is like when you're holding someone accountable, you're holding them accountable to their potential and how good they can do, versus holding them accountable in a way where it's like, you're being a piece of shit. You know what I mean? There's a huge difference. Like you're bad versus being like, dude, you're better than this. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think an element, and Matt, you do a great job of this, which is when somebody asks you, it doesn't have to be so formal. Like you can put qualifiers around. It's like, hey man, remember that conversation you and I were having? You said you want to reach this. How's that going?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, if you are truly in the corner of that other person, you can remind them that they are after what they said they were after and that they might be slipping up at the moment. And you can do that in a way that doesn't sound, like you're trying to be a jerk or like an I told you so sort of guy, because everybody can tell that. Even if you don't say that with your words, you can tell it with your tone. So for instance, the scripting of something like that might be like, hey man, dude, I'm saying this totally out of love. And I know it could be annoying that I'm saying this, but you said you wanted to lose 5 pounds. That burger, I don't really know if it's going to be helping you that much. So I'm here to support you. Eat the burger, but if there's anything else I can do to support you, let me know. Something like that doesn't have to be so, so like you're looking over the person's shoulder and you caught them at something bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think that's helpful. Just in like, how do you do that for yourself? You can do that for yourself. Like, you piece of shit. It's just like, hey, bud, let's put this burger in the fridge until afterwards, and we'll celebrate with it once, the weight loss or whatever you're doing. And then it's typically how you talk to yourself is typically how you talk to other people. If that makes sense.
Yeah, without a doubt. I also think it helps every once in a while to talk to each other like an athlete would. Just so you're on the same team, like you have a slap in the ass, like, come on, man, get your shit together. Let's go. Something along those lines. And that person can tell that you're in it for them and you're in it to win the championship together, not in it to play gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. That, and again, that in a relationship is like the biggest thing in the world.
How so?
So let's go with like the classic example of a person who and typically the example people cite is like husbands who get nitpicked by their wives. Like, this isn't that, don't do this, don't do that, put that there, blah, blah, blah. And what can happen is, as a husband, you can start to go, you pick up on an opportunity to nitpick. You're like, ooh, that tinfoil's not supposed to go there. And you can start trying to nitpick back. And it's like, or, you can just not do that and focus on kind of like more of a team aspect.
Dude, tinfoil. I've got some issues with tinfoil. Most people, it just drives me nuts. Yeah. For some reason, people let the box of their tinfoil degrade into no longer being a box. I don't know if like that. Like I found these to be the same people that let the ketchup like kind of crust on the bottle. And for me, it's a thing. Like for me, it's like it's almost comes down to like a morality issue, because it's that John Wooden quote that like how you do anything is how you do everything. So I have a habit, just to since this is a pseudo therapy session, I have a habit of going in and adjusting people's tinfoil boxes, of taping them back together, reinforcing them. Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So reestablishing the integrity of the tinfoil box is something that's very important to me. Matt, how was your weekend and how do you keep motivated? Because now you've been doing stand-up comedy for how long? 10 years, if not more?
Yeah, probably about 10 years. Yeah.
How do you keep motivated to keep on doing it?
Well, it's funny because yeah, I really I do prefer to like stay home. Like the weekends that I have it, I'm kind of like, ah, man, I got to go travel. But I really just think about, and I've said this before, just like helping people have fun, helping people laugh, helping people get out of the house. So I just really focus on like the feelings it creates.
Mm.
If that makes sense. And, it takes all of the burden of like, because when you start doing something like that, you're like kind of possessed with like being perceived as like a mega artistic genius. That's like, you kind of want to be like, I want myself to be the best, the funniest, blah, 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 blah. And, and there's certain things to be said. It keeps people sharp and I guess keeps people really focused. But
Mm.
it almost comes with kind of burnout when you approach it. That, at least for me, it comes with a sort of a burnout. Whereas if I just kind of, relax, still do the things I'm supposed to do, like make sure I, know what I'm going to talk about for the most part, have an idea, and, not be lazy. If ideas come to me, like actually jot them down rather than being like, well, remember that. So if I do like the fundamentals, and then once it becomes game, like you want to practice and stuff, stand-up's weird because I don't really practice for it, but I want to like, again, do the things like, if something funny occurs to you, try to write that down, see if you can mine that for stuff. So you want to like, let's just say practice like intensely. And then when it comes time to play, it's like, just lighten up and, do your thing.
So practice intensely and then focus on the value contribution for others.
Yeah. When it comes game time, you almost need to like reverse. It's like to practice, you almost have to get yourself in that like kind of like intense focused state. And then when it comes time to perform, you don't want to be like, obviously too much in your head about what you're doing. Otherwise your performance is going to suffer. So it's like that's the time you kind of relax and, just go with it and have fun. Same with the sales meeting or anything. It's like if you,
without doubt,
if you go into it like, I need this, it's like, you're going to come off all like weird.
Oh yeah, people can smell when you are, what do they call, what's that word? Desperate for something. Like absolutely, and we can all relate to that. Somebody's first reaction when you're running towards them is for you to run away from them versus becoming attractive enough for them to go towards you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that. Never imagined just like a hot chick running at me. Like,
So how's the weight loss stuff going, dude?
Not bad. It's I'm like stuck going down to. That was the thing that killed me this weekend. I did good the first day. I didn't eat much. I like went to a supermarket, just bought fruit and stuff. Second day, it's a Mexican food. So I'm just I'm at the same old weight thing. I'm like just teetering on 180, 179 and back. So this week I'm really turning up the juice. I didn't want to do it, but turning up the juice on a monk diet.
Yeah, I need to do the same. And I also want to throw it out to the guys that we'll start, Matt, if you're okay with it, start another weight loss competition too at the beginning of March.
Yeah.
Just because I want to get this thing on a rhythm, and I have not done a good job of systematizing this stuff. So I want to get back on the horse with everybody and get these emails out, etc. So everybody keep doing what you're doing. A lot of guys are losing a lot of weight, and I need to step it up big time for you guys. So that will be happening this week, and then March we'll start another one, and then just keep on going. My vote for everybody is do not stop until you hit the absolute goal that you're trying to hit, and then even keep on going. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I'll say it's like, even, and I don't say this to like let myself off the hook or like set the bar low, but it's like, dude, maintaining weight is like, pretty serious endeavor in itself. It's like, say, yeah, I do want to get down. Like, I think like I'm going for like 6 more pounds, but it's like, I'm not totally whacked out about not consistently gaining weight. Like I'm like verging, I'm edging down towards losing, but at least I'm not gaining. Because it's like, dude, without having the weight loss challenge in the back of my mind, dude, the meals, like so many food, like just like, oh, let's eat out. Oh, like that all gets filtered. Like, no. And then when you do it once, you're like, dude, and again, it's not the end of the world, obviously, if you're not in a weight loss competition, but like one meal makes a big difference, man.
Oh, yes, it does.
There was one meal I had that I think that I didn't lose weight.
Yep.
But it's like, it's pretty nuts. So.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, man. We'll have to come up with something that's more of like seasons. So we do X amount, and then maybe like during the holidays you take off, or like for a month or 2 months or whatever during the summer you take off. I do think that the whole athlete lifestyle of like you're on the court and then you're off the court, you have a season, then you have an off season, is very important. So it's not just like this playing in the mind of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing this every single day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think having the off season is a big deal.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. But I found something, Matt, that I think would be interesting to talk about. So this weekend I did archery, which was the first time I've ever done it.
Hell yeah.
And it was cool, but it made me think it's actually very interesting. If you think about archery, and I was just sitting there watching everybody, and it's very amazing because if you had to think of if I were to say, hey, Matt, I want you to hit this bullseye, or I want to hit this target with a small metal object, right? Like the tip of a spear or the tip of an arrow. It'd be very difficult for you to do that, like just with your arms, with your natural ability, right? Your natural physiology. But then as soon as I give you a bow and arrow, you become infinitely more precise, infinitely more powerful. And that thing can go a very long distance. And that's just with a basic bow and arrow. But then there was another guy there who had like this like souped out, like crazy, like pulley system, like probably made of carbon fiber, like all this crazy stuff. And this guy hit this target like almost every single damn time. Now, obviously he was a good, would say archer. I don't know what they call him. He was a good archer. However, I'm going to imagine that a large majority of the reason that he was able to do what he was doing was because of the machinery or the system of it. And then anyway, so this other guy had me test his bow and arrow, and it was the same. It was kind of, again, one of those sophisticated, at least bows. And dude, it just made me think of the analogy of life. It's like the majority of the time we might not have the skill, we might not have the natural ability, but if you can adapt a system or adopt a system, the system can do the majority, if not almost all of the heavy lifting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, like a nerdy example would be Microsoft Excel, right? Like the power, I barely have to do any work. I mean, that's kind of true, but it's kind of not true. But the relative output, right, that it gives me per unit of input is stupid, right? It's like 5% my input. Then when I build the calculators, like the machinery, the system does it all. So I guess as a proposal to all of us on this podcast is where in your life are you struggling that you can apply or tap into a system that will do the majority of the lifting that you need it to do? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dude, last week was a huge example for me when I talked about on Friday. It was like I was feeling out of it. I was like, oh, I got to do all this stuff. I had 1,000,001 excuses not to do the things I had to do. And like, I was dealing with like putting out a bunch of like work-related fires. And it was just like my mind screaming to tell me to do like 90 million things. And I'm like, well, let me just stick to my system. And it turned out to be like the exact thing that worked out perfectly and like made the most sense.
Yep.
And dude, I mean, I was thinking about this before I even came on today. I'm like, I don't even know what to talk about. Every day I do my same old routine. It's like, and it works awesome. It's like I wake up and I just do the same, 4 or 5 things. And I like wake up, get out of bed. Now, instead of 3 minutes, I give myself 10 deep breaths. Because that way it's like it's very, very cut and dry whether or not I do it. You know, does that make sense? Rather than being like, has it been 3 minutes? It's like, no, 10 deep breaths, I'm up. It's non-negotiable. There's not like, well, I'll do 2 minutes instead of 3 or blah, blah, blah. No, it's just 10 deep breaths and up. So yeah, just wake up, meditate, journal. The journal and everything feeds on each other. Meditating kind of centers me and calms me. The journaling, I kind of go through. If there's any issues that might be kind of preoccupying my mind, they get kind of processed there. At least, they started to get processed. And then at the end of it, I just consciously arrange exactly. I set an intention for exactly what I'm doing that day. At least my intentions for it. And then from there, I make sure that I exercise, even though I so badly want to jump right into work. It's like, no. Exercise first. And then, I go up, check in, do all the family stuff. And then now everything's settled. Now I'm working because work's the thing I'm most motivated to do. So let me get the things I'm least motivated to do out of the way first. And so I know I'm not going to not work, if that makes sense. But dude, having the system is what allows me to do all of those things. Otherwise, I'm like picking and choosing and just kind of following my little fancy, basically nowhere.
Do you ever find yourself where you have an opportunity to do something, but it would be at the expense of doing your daily habits, where you say, yeah, I'm going to not do the daily habits, I'm going to do this thing, or vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the journaling, because I'll say like, all right, what is like right now I have like a main focus that I'm trying to get done. So it's not like I forsake all of my habits, although there have been times where I say like, look, today, it's funny now when I don't do my routine, I have to almost be like, hey, it's fine, dude. You'll get back to it tomorrow. Today's just a weird day. Just get through this thing, do the things you got to do. So yeah, I think there should be wiggle room, but it should be, you should be noticing when you deviate from it, if that makes sense, rather than just, being like, well, I'm doing this. But at the same time, yeah, Wes, like again, Friday was a classic example of just like wanting to deviate from it and being like, even though my body's screaming at me to do all these things, let me stick to it anyway. And, in that case, it kind of worked out. So I think you just got to use discretion. But the one thing I always stick to no matter what is like, you can always meditate. That's the one thing. Like, I'm still going to do this no matter what. And that kind of helps big time.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I am very ruthless with myself when it comes to an opportunity that comes to my feet. I try my best to almost never sacrifice the daily habits. And but to be fair, that's why I would do the scorecard in the morning, because it dramatically reduces the probability they're going to get this random opportunity or random fire to put out, et cetera, like early in the morning.
Yeah.
It's just not as probable. But even when there is something, and the hard part is not necessarily the fires for me, it's the opportunities. Like, oh, I could go do this thing and I will benefit here. But it's like, no, I gotta slap my hand out of the cookie jar. It's like, no, I have to get my workouts done first.
Yeah.
Because the system is what works. I try my best to borderline never compromise the system as much as possible.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I do think it's like, when I say deviate, it has to be a genuine kind of like out of the blue emergency, not just like, because if you're deviating from your system like weekly, then there's some sort of thing that needs to be addressed, at least in my opinion. It's like, well, somebody needed me to do this or that. It's like, well, this is the 4th time this month. So it's like, you need to have a conversation and say like, hey, here's how I'm trying to arrange my day. Like, how can we kind of, make sure all this stuff gets squared away so that, we're both good to go.
Yeah. And Matthew Bland is asking, what about nightly routines? You see that?
Yeah.
What's your response to him? So he's saying, anyone got any advice on how to be efficient with getting to sleep? I work until 11 p.m. I'm in IT, so I'm on screens. I run in the AM or 6 p.m. on lunch, but I feel that it's affecting my recovery.
Well, it's kind of like 2 questions. So you work till 11 p.m. I don't know what time you wake up. That's kind of like the main thing. But it's like when you go home, this is the number one thing, nighttime routine. Put your phone somewhere. Just put it away. You don't need it. If like you can always check before you go to bed to make sure nobody called you. But it's like that's the thing that's helped me the biggest wind down is just take my phone and it's upstairs. It's away from me and I'm hanging out doing family stuff. And I don't see my phone until the moment I just before I lay down, I check to make sure no one texts me and put it away. But it's
completely agree with that.
That's the biggest thing. It's like get your phone away from your face, get it out of there. Because it's just like when you're on, and there was a book about this. I think it's called The Shallows, where they talk about how being on your phone is engaging like a problem-solving part of your brain, where it's just like, I open my menu. Which button do I click? I click this button. What if I click this button? And then it's like, bam, here's something that's been, custom calibrated or custom set up that you're specifically interested in, flash before your eyes. And it's like, it's hard to turn down. It's like, dude, when I pull up my YouTube, my workout on YouTube, it's like, I'm like, here's my workout. And I'll just see something like, I lived on the street in Philadelphia for 400 days. Here's what happened. And it's like, whoa, that sounds cool. And I'm like, God damn it, get back over here. So it's like, yeah, get that thing away from me, man. That's one of my main focuses. After I get done, I have 1 or 2 subjects for psych-nol, and I'm going to do a very intensive study of cell phone addiction and its kind of effect on people. Cause it's like, I'm trying to get my thing down pat where like that thing is a tool and it's not some weird thing that I'm addicted to.
Have you ever tried meditating before bed?
No, yes, I have, but that's a part of my system right now that's kind of in flux where I'm trying to get either right before bed or before I go, like at the end of my work day is meditating, then it stops meditating, and then I go do my thing. I do it sometimes when I lay down, but I feel like it's not the same as like intentionally sitting somewhere doing it and then going and laying down. So
yeah, meditation has really helped me because I view it as almost like a doorway. Like that's the way I visualize in my mind. It's like meditation is the door and then the doorway that I get through, and it puts me in a different environment mentally. Like really, really helps me. It's like, that's the thing. And I've noticed that in any transitions, if I do a quick little meditation, 5 minutes minimum, 10 minutes usually, a little 5 to 10 minute meditation, like, and now I personally lay down, shut my eyes, put on some either guided meditation or just nothing. And then I try to do the transcendental meditation thing. Man, that's a game changer. Yeah. Even if it's 5 minutes, I come out different. I come out prepared for whatever the next thing is, even if that next thing is sleep.
Yeah, no, dude, I think that's the That's, I think, a huge thing for nighttime routine. It's like, are you telling yourself like, hey, the day is officially over? And I think meditating is like the best way to do that, of being like, hey, we're like you were saying, I love going through the doorway thing of like, all right, we came through the doorway of the workday, and we are now exiting the work, like fully exiting that into just like, it is time for rest and recovery. And yeah, I think meditating is like awesome for that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's something I really want to get into. I have it down pat on the morning side, and I'm going to try to now reconfigure how to do that on the nighttime side as well, because it's like I try to do it, but I don't have like you were saying, like it's not part of my. It's almost like the structure of my day kind of ends at 5 p.m. I'm done. I kind of, which is good. I go and relax, but it's like I do want to have a better nighttime routine. Also, if I don't know if you have an iPhone, the this little icon thing. I don't know if you can see it, the little bed thing towards the bottom, I guess my left. Dude, that you can set up like a nighttime thing on your iPhone, and you'll send your phone in a do not disturb at a certain time. And then it'll kind of tell you, it'll get an alert saying like, hey, it's time for bed. And it just, that helps me big time.
One of the things I want to see, Matt, if you're okay with, we haven't followed up with Patty P to see how the drinking stuff was going. If you're cool with it, and if Patty P is cool with it too, because we talked to him a few weeks ago. Just he was trying to lighten off of the drinking. I just want to get an update from him if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess too. I mean, I'm waiting for him to comment so I can pop him in.
Yeah.
But to answer the guy's question, it's like, yeah, man, you just have to. It all depends on like what you're doing when you get home. So, the screen time shit kind of. He said he's working with screens till 11 p.m. It's like, yeah, that's kind of rough. So get home and don't look at any screens. Simple as possible. Don't look at any screens. Try not to eat a humongous meal before you go to bed. And, the other thing too I have to tell myself is like, you don't have to be doing something all the time. Like even in between shows, like we would like the day of before we would do it, I would like just sit in bed. I would sit in bed. I would meditate. I would read. And then I would just kind of just like lay there and, you can sit there and just kind of sit in silence. It's kind of nice.
You ever do a stretch before bed?
No.
Dude,
doing that.
Give that a little shot sometime. Give yourself a little treat. Yeah, a little bedtime stretch is nice.
So no phone, meditate. I spelled that wrong. And stretch before bed. I think it's a great nighttime routine. All right, let me see if I can find old Patty P.
Yeah, Patty P said give him 1 sec. So while we're waiting for him, Matt, what's your week looking like, bro?
Dude, the week's looking good. Let me bust up my little thing here. I have my main focus is finishing the whatchamacallit, the little writing project for Rhomas University.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to keep the regimen going. Obviously, top priority. Really hard focus because I have like part of the regimen is my work blocks, but I custom arrange my work blocks to like what's my like direct focus or my like the thing that's kind of I need to do the most. So yeah, the writing project, just work blocks for 2 hours, making bumpers for Stoner Dads, and the psych null writing. And other than that, really sticking with the diet and kind of going into monk mode for the the remaining days of February. So yeah, just like sticking to the routine and getting those work blocks in. It's like pretty simple.
Dude, actually, again on the mega mind here, man. My focus is work blocks. I talked to Ray about it this last week, and I need to get back on my grind with, I call them 20 and 2. So my whole work block is 20 minutes of scheduling the next 2 hours. So I call it 20 and 2, and really sticking to that. Talking with Ray about it help remind me. It's like, I need to be doing more of that. And sometimes I'll try to get 3 of those in per day. And dude, if I can get 3 of those in per day, it's turned into a productivity monster. Basically, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, you take 20 minutes, you write down and prioritize the things that you could do. And then after that 20-minute bell is up, you then, or like during that 20-minute bell, you put all of those things or whatever is relevant into your 2-hour time block and just write it out. And the important thing is in the sequence at which you want to accomplish it. So then you set your 2-hour timer. I honestly, the thing that's kept me in flow, as weird as this sounds, is I play something in the background. I play a movie or something that I've already watched. And for some reason that keeps me less antsy of like wanting to get up and like in search for something. I feel like it it reduces my level of FOMO to a certain degree. I don't know why, but it just does. I feel like I'm getting entertainment in simultaneously, so I don't feel like I'm giving up something in my life. And then it just allows me to, I've done that for like 6, 7, 8 hours straight before. Just play like movie after movie after movie while I'm doing a 2-hour time block, 2-hour time block, 2-hour time block.
Yeah, man. I go for it. I need to at least have 2 hour of like my main focus, and all my little side projects, I'll do like an hour to an hour and a half time blocks. And it's like, dude, I'm in the, actually, it's funny too, because I started one before this, because usually like I do my stuff in the morning, and then it's like I'm working until I hear like Maya wake up, and then, I go up, we do all family stuff. But I'll even do a thing where like I have a 2-hour time block. I'll get into like 36 minutes of it, pause my timer, go do everything else. And then once everything gets situated, unpause the timer and just keep going back at it. But at the same time, it's like, they're like good distractions, but like phone, all that stuff is just, it's like, no, phone's on do not disturb. And I'm just rolling. So yeah, dude. And it's like, I'll have a 2-hour time block. I'll get so much stuff done. I'll check the timer. I'm like, damn, it was only 36 minutes, almost in a good way, where it's like, I'm going to get so much more stuff done. To me, it's absolutely crucial, man, to have some sort of timer, because otherwise that 36 minutes will feel, without the timer, I'll go, I just got a lot of stuff done. But it's like, well, you only worked for 36 minutes, man.
Yep. So. 100%, man. Time is kind of a great equalizer for many things. Because when people tell me they're not getting the results, or even for me, like if I'm not getting the results, the number one question I ask myself is like, okay, if I had to time out the amount of minutes or the amount of hours that I've actually applied towards earning that thing, if I had to be honest with myself, how much time have I put into it?
Yep.
Now, like, of course, you can get down to it's a quantity versus quality argument. It's like, oh, well, just because you put in so much time doesn't mean you're going to get good at something. It's like, yeah, but it's the prerequisite. Or like, are you putting in the time? If you're not putting in the time, then that is a great indicator on whether or not you're a predictable indicator whether or not you're actually going to get those results.
Absolutely. And then there's it's happened before where I did the time block, and I just like, the timer goes off, and I'm like, dude, I'm on a roll, and I just keep rolling with it. But it's like, yeah, the time block thing was like, the morning routine was down pat, and it's like, it's easy for me to get distracted in my house because, there's always stuff going on. And I try to also like be helpful and be flexible. But that's, when it becomes a thing where this is what I had to deal with personally, where it's like, all right, I know I need to do all this stuff. I know I need to be operating on a certain level with work. So it's like, let me set up this structure. Like you were saying, Wes, like, so let's set up a system then. Like, it's like, well, I want you upstairs. Well, I want to be downstairs. It's like, all right, well, we both want different things. So let's systematize this and say, like, what are you doing at this time? Tell me. That's totally fine. I got you then. But during the time I need to do these work blocks, I'm doing these work blocks, so it's like, sometimes it's just a matter of having certain conversations that, set up those kind of systems.
I think expectation systems, definitely.
It's been super helpful, man. It's been super helpful. And, it's almost like I'm then, rather than like both people kind of pulling, and, this is more of a relationship thing, but it's like, I need you up here. I need to be down here. It's like, all right, I'm going to be upstairs, but when I'm up here, that's all I'm doing. But it's like, I know that I'm going back downstairs and I can be able to do my thing. And it's like, so that's been kind of a cool process. But now it's like I'm getting to the point where I can really focus on nailing these work blocks out. And it's like, dude, they're the best, man. They are the absolute best.
Do you have a bathroom downstairs?
No, that's what I wish.
You got a little pee bottle?
No, I should start pee bottling.
Dude,
that's the big thing. You go upstairs, you show your face, and it's like all of a sudden, like, hey,
100%. Yeah, because that's where we get into what Matt, you and I have talked about before, is that most people, what we're doing is we're not acting, we are reacting to stimulus. So the stimulus of you walking upstairs, all of a sudden to the surrounding human says, oh, Matt means this things. Matt, I can use Matt to get this out of the drawer, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like reducing that exposure, that stimulus, I would imagine would dramatically reduce the tangent tasks that you probably receive by exposing yourselves to certain individuals. I have to do the same thing in my office.
That's a good
literally
idea.
the same thing in my office. Every time I walk out, it's like boom, boom, but there's 5, 6 questions. Unfortunately, I cannot have a pee bottle in my office, but like I've thought about like digging a tunnel from my office directly to the bathroom. Yeah.
I was just eyeing up. There's a drain, that like thing everyone always asks what it is behind me. That's actually a drain. I'm like, I could crawl out my window and pee down that drain. That would be actually kind of nice.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, that is my commitment this week, to really quadruple down on the 20 and 2 time block.
Yep. Hell yeah. No,
cool.
Same here, man. It's all about the system. And again, the morning routine's great, but like the middle of that routine should be the time blocking. It's like, there's the morning routine, there's a nighttime routine. And like, if you get 2-hour time blocks, you're like, holy shit, I got a lot of stuff done.
Yep. It's insane. I mean, one time I would actually challenge people, if you are new to time blocking, try it maybe 2 hours sounds a little too intense for you. Because to be honest, I did work myself up to 2 hours. But try 20 minutes. Now, here's the thing. Plan out your stuff. Like try 10 minutes of planning and figure out what's the most important thing. Like what are the lead dominoes? What are the things that are the most important? What are the things that are going to move the needle for you? Try that. Go to the bathroom. Ray said pee in the toilet. So go to the bathroom, do everything you got to do to get it out of the way so it's uninterrupted. And then just set your time. So list out the things you're going to do and then set a timer for 30 minutes. Do whatever the amount of time is that you can tolerate. I'd recommend at least for 30 minutes. And if you can't do that, then absolute minimum 15 minutes. Try that, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff you can get done inside of that small time window. And dude, when you extend it out to 2 hours, it's insane the amount of stuff that you can do. And also, it's a great practice in focus because you will find yourself repeatedly trying to like get off, like, oh, I don't want to do this, or you'll find that your brain keeps on making excuses for you to leave that chair. Do not leave the fucking chair. Get your stuff done. You got two options. You either be bored and not get anything done, or you do the things on your list.
Yeah, man. That's the biggest thing is taking out all those distractions. It's like phone away, face down somewhere else where you can't see it. And then it's just like, start ripping.
100%, man. Cool, bud. Well, I think
let's grab whatchamacallit real quick. Check in with Patty P. I think he's ready to roll.
Oh, cool. Let's do it.
And then we should be good to go. Let me see. There it is. We'll do a quick check-in. I think we're hitting the 12 o'clock hour soon.
Yeah, we're starting to get super efficient with this stuff, man.
It's pretty tight. Patty P. What's up, bro?
Oh, what's up, guys?
Chilling, man. What you up to?
Yeah, just took my trash out, just starting my Monday shit,
Patty P, I am sorry. I have to make a disclaimer. I see your shirt right now. I have never watched Star Wars ever, and I feel like it's a major violation. I need to do that.
Yeah.
I got this shirt from Target on the clearance rack for like $2.
Hell yeah. Shirt. It's even better.
Yeah, Wes, it's a good thing to watch. Like if you've watched them in order.
I've heard.
It's chill. The old ones are good. The new ones are pretty good too. If they're just movies, so it's not that big of a deal.
but I've heard there's and Matt, what's the reason you're telling me to watch it? Because I've heard similar things.
I mean, it's just cool, man. For me, like whenever I watch it for like a month afterwards, I'm obsessed with this like Jedi mode. And like when you especially watch Luke Skywalker train with Yoda in the swamp, it's like, dude, oh my God, I just want to carry someone on my back through the swamp. Train.
Yeah, I've heard the benefits of almost like mental training, and there's certain like psychological attributes that the movie displays in an entertaining way. Yeah,
it's cool. It's awesome. It's fun to watch. And again, for like a month after that, it was just Jedi versus Sith stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Nice, man. So Patty P, dude, what are the updates? We talked to you about like a month ago or so when we were talking about reducing the drinking. So want to get the feedback. What's going on, brother?
Dude, I'm down to just really ripping on the weekends, maybe Friday and Saturday, and then on the weeks, I'm just trying not to feel like too irresponsible with it, like just getting hammered on the weekends, or on the weekdays or whatever. So, yeah, dude, we had a good time on Saturday, but we've been doing a lot of like board game nights. Me and my girlfriend with our friends and stuff.
Hell yeah!
And that's kind of like trying to, just do other shit. And so I got after it a little bit, but we're all right out here so far.
And I think I saw in the comments that you started. What did you start the year in weight?
Whenever I clocked in on the first of the year this year, I was 201 or 202 or something like that. And
okay.
Got it. I've been 200 pounds one other time, and it was like 6 or 7 years ago. And so I'm down to 192 today.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of floating around 192 just because I haven't been able to I just got to cut out the extra bullshit and kind of stick to it a little harder. And, to kind of break the threshold of 190, which I haven't in quite some time.
Hell yeah. Yeah, next month I think I'm going to try something that I was watching. I think it was like the Michaela Peterson podcast. I watched a clip where there was a doctor and they're talking about leaky gut and how a lot of people's leaky gut comes from emulsifiers because there's all these things that are added to food to keep like oils and water together. And they were like, well, if you want to, if there's something you really want to do, it's like just don't eat stuff with barcodes on it. Just eat food. Just eat foods. If it has a barcode, don't. It's just you can obviously take it to whatever extreme you want. I'm gonna for the month of March. I'm gonna try to really I already told myself I'm giving myself a day to enjoy some burgers for Maya's birthday dinner. And then the rest of the month is going to be just whole food. No, I mean, obviously there are dickheads that put stickers on apples, which drives me nuts. But I'm going to try for the month of March, just eating just foods, like no barcode, not processed whatsoever at all, anything, and see how that goes. So.
Hell yeah, man. And dude, one thing I want to throw out there to everybody is we should watch the movie Game Changers together as a group. We should do some man movies sometime because we can do it on Zoom now, and somebody shares their screen and we could all watch together, so we're all advancing our knowledge together. But yeah, if anybody's having trouble with what they should eat, I mean, definitely check out Game Changers. Check out other documentaries that really help advance your thinking about what you should be putting in your face.
Yeah, big time.
So, Patty P, congratulations on the 8-pound loss, dude. You can 100% very easily get below 192 easily, dude.
No, yeah.
How tall are you?
5'10".
Okay,
yeah.
Before COVID, like I went on my first tour as like a sound guy or whatever, and I was gone for like a month, and then like I got what we call tour belly. So you're just going from town to town, not eating, so your stomach really shrinks. And we got to like the singer's like in-laws house in California, and they cooked us this huge fucking meal, and I could eat like a quarter of a plate basically. And like when I came back home, my girlfriend was like, "Oh my god," she's like, "I can see your face." Like I'll get the beard in to kind of hide the fatness or whatever, but yeah, like I'll if I'm working like normal, my weight does fluctuate, but I am usually like, like under 190 just because of like working and shit. But COVID is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. At the start of COVID, I pigged out, dude. I pigged so hard for the first 2 months, and then I was like, all right, this is fucking crazy.
Dude, I single-handedly kept the fucking seltzer business like in business. It's like, oh my god, I drank 12 natty seltzers last night. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, man. They add up.
Is what it is. Not doing that anymore, obviously.
Hell yeah, dude. Like I said, it's all about the trajectory, man.
Yep, path of progress over perfection for sure, man.
Hell yeah.
It's great to hear your progress, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, this shit's just been really helping me with like my kind of like goals and stuff. The last time you guys had me on, I had like just got this like recording set up, and like this past weekend I got it all set up. Had my bass player come over. Basically, we have like total in-ear monitoring now, and I've never had that before. So it's like man. Kind of like a new. I've been playing music since I was, I don't know, like 16 or 15. I'm 30 now, and this is like the first time I've had like professional, like my own shit professionally at home. So it's like a whole new thing, and we got like 5 songs going. My guitar player's in Chicago, so we're doing it remotely, but now we can like finally do it right. So it's like it's really cool to get a fucking like goal done. And like,
yep,
I'm going into the studio next week to do some other stuff. So it's just like I'm like piecing together these things like very incrementally, and I feel like that's kind of what this like Rhomas shit is definitely
100%, dude.
A lot.
Oh yeah, dude, I swear you're hitting on such a great point, which is like it's just setting the next goal and then doing it, and then honestly, what I want to tell most men, including myself, is like just keep going. That's it. Like that's usually the answer. Like find the right path and then keep going. That's it. Like just do more of it.
No, because there's like plenty of times like during when I'm down there playing drums for like fucking 6 hours or whatever, and I'm just like, I fucking suck. This sucks. I fucking suck. And it's like, no, you just have to fucking power through, and then just get something that works and go from there, and then just kind of try to piece things together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time in high school, I went to a Catholic school all the way up until 10th grade. And then when I went to 10th grade, we had something called typing class, which was just like literally just learning how to type. Everybody else in the school knew how to do it because they grew up in the public school system. Anyway, I can relate to what you're saying, even though your story is much cooler than mine. One day I remember literally like every single day, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to type it because I didn't have enough money. Like, we were poor, so I didn't have a computer at home. So what I did was I went out to a yard sale and I just bought a keyboard. So that didn't have a computer attached to it. And I would sit there every night and just practicing. And I was like, I just suck at this thing. And I remember one day, literally, I woke up and I went to school and I had to type a report. And all of a sudden, boom, like it just switched. And it was like all of the self-talk leading up to that was I suck shit. I'm terrible. Like I don't even have a computer, all this stuff. And then after a couple months of effort, boom, it all just like came together and worked. So hell yeah, man, keep on the journey.
Oh
Yeah, that was like the first time, or the last thing I'll say, and I'll go back inside. I got a lot more chores to do. Whenever I felt like my first breakthrough, like professionally, like I had never thought, and I was always really scared of going into like a big theater and working because I'm like, this is so big. And then like I had just put myself incrementally through these steps to be able to like mentally walk into these rooms. And the one I'm speaking about is in St. Louis. It's called the Pageant. It's like a 5,000 seat theater or whatever. It's fucking sick. And I became like the guy there eventually. But like 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I had left college, like I would never have even. It's not even like are you smart enough to do it? It's like if you can like handle the task and can you do these like it's like a high fucking intensity job. And it's like, I finally got there, and that's like incremental shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
100%, man.
Hey, thanks, you guys.
Hell yeah, brother. Good catching up, dude. Have a great week.
All right, Patty. All right. That is it, man. It really is just the incremental stuff. It's like, forget about, the dude on YouTube with the Ferrari in his garage. It's like, we always said it, man. Let's just get the garage, man. Let's get the garage going. Get in a garage. I want a garage.
Yeah. And put some weights in your damn garage, not a fucking Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly. So it really is, man. It's like just the baby steps, just constantly baby stepping yourself. And then, again, you just look back if you've been doing this for months, you turn around and you're like, holy shit, that's crazy. But, yeah, just teeny, like you said, man, just the base hits all day long.
100%, brother. All right, dude. Have an outstanding week. And again, we make it an efficient podcast.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother.
Later.